might have to let it drop. Let it drop.
Well, Mondays are rough. Nobody enjoys Mondays, but this Monday got a little extra pep in my step with it being Detroit Lions game week, Will. It's a little easier to swallow a Monday when you got a Lions game in 3 days from now. Hot topic tonight. Will's got an interesting thought process, I'll say, as to what he's going to present tonight. Stick around, hit that like button, subscribe, enjoy the show. Will, what's on your mind tonight?
Listen, it's gonna get hot and heavy tonight, but basically, and full disclaimer, there might be some words, might be some adult words used, but I think we need to have a conversation about, should we be worried? Should the world be worried? Should Detroit Lions fans, should the Detroit Lions nation be worried that the defense has been fucking up the offense at practice? Like, let's get into it. Like, and I'm not talking about one-on-one drills. I'm not talking about that, Steve. One-on-one drills are kind of back and forth. You know, J-Mo has his moments. St. Brown has his moments. Laporta's having moments. One-on-one drills. But I keep seeing it put out. These observations. Team defense is getting after team offense. Steve, here's my case, and here's why I'm having a conversation, Steve. This is why I brought it to you. This is my thought process. It's not just because I'm a defensive guy, right? Because I know that's people who know me and people who watch the show religiously. That's not what I'm talking about. It's this. There are people that are worried about if this defense is going to be able to hold water for the offense. There's people that are worried about if the defense will even be in the top 20 in the league. So how are they winning at practice then? If that's the case, that's my question. That's why it's on the table, because if people are going to tell me in one breath that we got a top 3 offense, and in the next breath, they're going to tell me that they're worried about the defense and we don't have a rusher opposite of Aiden, and it's going to be, you know, a struggle with the rookie, and then Aleem McNeil being out and Anzalone being a little bit banged up, and we got question mark. Why aren't these question marks showing up right now, Steve? So talk to me. Is the question crazy? Where you at with it?
I'm not concerned at all, Will. I honestly, I'm excited. I think this is fantastic news to hear that the Detroit Lions defense is playing with some aggression, playing with a chip on their shoulder. It excites me. I have zero worries about the Detroit Lions offense. Zero. All right. New coach, couple new pieces on the offensive line. Not worried one bit, Will. I know we're going to be fine. You know what would make me worried is if some reports were coming out that Jared Goff was getting hit. There was nonstop pressures. We couldn't block anyone. I just see some early rust maybe from these rookies. Okay, I'm seeing them get maybe their butts handed to them by some grown men, and I called that was going to happen. There's going to be a learning curve, but I'm not worried about the offense, Will. For years, I think since podcast equipment was invented, Will, and before we even started this channel, we were talking about how we needed to get the Detroit Lions defense on par with the offense. Maybe this is the case where it's arrived. Maybe we're in that boat now. I see a healthy defense. I see an angry defense. I see a defense that doesn't like how the season ended. A defense has been criticized all offseason by every move, by every acquisition, saying, oh, we shouldn't have got him. We should have got this guy instead. I think they see all that stuff, and they're just putting belt to ass now for a couple days. Well, I think that's really all it is. The offense is going to have their day. You cannot stop an offense with the players we have. Jared Goff, St. Brown, J-Mo, Sam Laporta, Isaac Tesla, who's playing good, Tim Patrick, who looks rejuvenated, David Montgomery, Penei Sewell. You cannot stop an offense with all those players, but you can play really good defense against them, and I think that's what's going on, because you're not stopping this offense from scoring 28 points in a game. Well, you're just not going to do it. So my level of concern is far less than zero.
Steve.
Difference of opinion, I can tell. You're a defensive guy is going to switch it up, and he's going to. What you got for me, Will?
Are you out of your mind? Is what
I'm not. I'm not out of. I'm not even slightly out of my mind.
Here's why. I'm not going to say that you're wrong, because it yet remains to be seen. But not having the concern, like the trust that you have with the unknown, is why I'm saying, are you nuts? And I say that because of this. You know, I'm a football guy, football family. I've got the blessing of having the opportunity of having my cousin play for the Packers, and the Packers are. I know that they're the arch enemy, and we say what we want to say about them. But one great thing about the Green Bay Packers is their fans are allowed in and around practice a whole lot. They got the whole bike thing where the players get on the kids' bikes and they ride the bikes up and from practice and to practice and all of that stuff. But Steve, so while my cousin was playing in the league, one of the things that I learned about their training camp and OTAs is they used to give a detailed description of what happened. As you can imagine, with him being a bubble guy at the time, we were watching that as a family, like down to everything that happened. And then when we got the opportunities to be at practice, it was like you were locked in, especially a guy like me. I was locked in trying to learn, absorb, see everything that I could see. You know, they had Ahmad Green, who was a monster at that time, Donald Driver, Robert Ferguson. They had dogs out there. But here's the thing, and here's why I'm talking about it. Brett Favre wasn't getting his ass kicked at practice ever. He wasn't ever just getting handed to him at practice, right? I don't hear about Patrick Mahomes just getting his ass handed to him throughout training camp. Right? I don't hear about Joey B getting his ass handed to him at training camp or whatever, getting picked off and other things or whatever. That's why it's a conversation for me. If you are supposed to be a top dog, top 3, top 5, you should be that every day. I say it all the time. One of the things that I learned from my scouting coach was this: you that film, you should be a dog every day. I shouldn't see you being a dog sometimes. So, am I in panic mode? No, I'm not. But we're talking about Super Bowl. We're not talking about winning a bunch of regular season games. We're not talking about scoring a bunch of points. We're not talking about highs and lows, peaks and valleys. No, we're talking about being a dog. And if this offense is going to be a dog, I want it to be a dog every single time it steps on turf or grass. That's my thing. So here's where I'm at with it. And watchers, subscribers, people that stumbled upon us, let me know how you feel about this. Here's where I'm at. This defense better be freaking good. Right? It better be freaking good. And we better be a problem, or I got some concerns. So here's where I'm at with it, Steve. Is this defense even better than we think it is? And is that what's really causing the problem? Is it not to question the offense? Is it to say that we're not giving this defense enough flowers? Because Steve, as I go through this list of things, because I knew we were going to have this conversation, I'm thinking about as we went through these observations, as we went through cap, as we went through highlights. I've seen Hutch giving it to Sewell. And I'm not just talking about spin moves, juke moves, stutter steps. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I've seen Hutch come in and just bull rush Sewell. And that's a game that you're not supposed to play with Panay. You're not supposed to be able to do that. And Panay is the anchor of our offensive line. Okay, whoa, okay. Let's talk about that. Now, Deck ain't been out there, but I've been seeing Marcus Davenport doing this thing. Is that cause for concern? All right. Today, Rock Yassin. We talk about Dominic Lovett, a young guy that I'm talking about, pounding the table. I think that he's going to be an absolute weapon as far as a role player. Special teams, returning kicks, maybe long-term down the road, a number 4, number 5 receiver that makes some big plays here and there. He got manhandled by Rock Yassin, who's a reserve guy. He's like in the Kendall Vildor column role, you know what I mean, now or whatever. I'm just saying, like, he's got to go through a lot of people. I'm not saying like similar game as Kendall Vildor. I'm saying we got to go through a lot of people before we get to Rock Yassin. I'm planning on going through a Meek. I'm planning through going through Ennis Rakestraw before I'm calling Rock Yassin's number. He's manhandling a guy that we're talking about being on the active roster for week 1 potentially. So as I keep going through this list, Tate Ratliff having to get moved from, because I think Coach Morton gave the sauce a little bit today when he said they moved Tate from center to the guard position, man. So, and it kind of seems like it's going to be something that sticks. He said Graham felt more comfortable, or is a little bit more natural at the center, and Tate has some growing pains. So it looks like that's what it's going to be. Are these things cause for concern? Because we ain't even got Lee McNeil out there yet.
William, where would you like me to start? Like you gave me a lot of information to digest. Because all right, I guess we'll just start with Hutch and Penei Sewell, 2 of the best at their position, right? I mean, Penei Sewell, best tackle in the game. Aiden Hutchinson, one of the best edge rushers in the game. battles are going to be won. All right. When you have iron sharpening iron, reps are going to be lost on both sides. They're sharpening each other. I'm not worried. I haven't seen anything that says Jared Goff is struggling at camp. So I haven't seen anything about him getting beat up, or I haven't seen anything about him throwing a crazy amount of reception. Well, yeah, you can't touch him in training camp, but you have simulated sacks. I haven't seen anything concerning in that regards. I haven't seen anything concerning about him throwing the ball to the other side. I haven't seen turnovers being an issue. I haven't seen fumbles being an issue. I'm not sure exactly what you're worried about, Will. I really, truly believe that this is just our defense going to the next level. We said, what gets the defense better? It's getting healthy. Check that box. What gets the defense better? Some of these role players stepping up. Like we did a whole show yesterday on some rookies without even mentioning Tyreek Hill. All right. Rock Yassin, if I'm not mistaken, Ennis Rakestraw and Amik Robertson weren't practicing today because of some boo-boos. They were resting up. If I could be mistaken on that one, but I thought I saw that from one of the beat writers. So maybe that's why he was out on the field. I've seen nothing but good things and good compliments about Brian Branch, that he looks even more dynamic than before, if you can even picture that type of world. Kirby Joseph, I think he's nursing a little something too. Wasn't at practice today either, I don't believe. So, well, I think this is really just a product of maybe Coach Shep has figured out how to unlock the true potential of some of these players, because the talent's always been there. All right. We've always had the talent. It's just the problem of keeping that talent healthy. Marcus Davenport should be nice and rejuvenated. He hasn't played football in almost 2 seasons. Like, it's not a knock. It's just a fact. He sat out since week 3 of last year with an injury. So he should be a full go, motivated, healthy, in the best shape of his life. Going against Dan Skipper. Okay. Dan Skipper is not going to be our everyday left tackle. I understand that. Maybe that's the fish that they're exposing in training camp. Marcus Davenport versus Dan Skipper. Does he probably win a couple battles against Taylor Decker if he's out there? Yeah, probably. I'm not worried about anything. Well, I think like I said, all the personnel we have on offense, it's too good to contain. 28 points a game wins you a lot of football games. Now, if this defense is as good as I think it's going to be, and we're only giving up 17 points a game to 21, somewhere in that range, well, that should put you in the top 5 right there with that stat. So I really do believe that this is just a product of our defense being healthy and getting better, and maybe a new scheme that's helping them be unlocking their full potential.
I dig it, and I'm not in a panic. I'll say that. I'm not in a panic, but I am in there's going to be some different things, right? But they went to the podium and said, we're doing a lot of the same stuff with some new wrinkles. We're taking a lot of the stuff that we were doing under the Chicago Bears coach, and then Coach Morton is bringing in a little bit of his stuff. So I don't think the learning curve should be crazy. We got a lot of the same guys out there that have been here, especially at the specialty positions. There's not a lot of new players coming in. So that's what my kind of cause of concern is, because I'm looking for dominance, Steve. I want dominant. I want the Josh Allen, the Joe Burrow, the Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson type training camps where our offense is looking dominant. So I'm hoping, I'm praying, football gods, please tell me that it's the fact that this defense is really like that. It's really like that. That's really what I'm hoping. And that's kind of what I'm getting at with this whole thing, because if it isn't, then I got questions. So going into this season, right, I don't know how much of it we're going to see in preseason. We're going to see a lot of these young guys, but we're a veteran defense. That could be another thing to it, even though we got a new scheme. If you look across that D line, hey, Marcus Davenport's been here a season. He should know what's going on. Obviously, Aiden should know what's going on. DJ Reader should know what's going on. Our whole linebacking core should know what's going on. They're not new guys. Jack's got that green dot on. He's been here. He's leading that thing. You got Anzalone. You got Barnes out there. They should know. Our safeties, they know, doggone. The only new guy in the secondary is DJ Reed. He better know what's going on. So that's a veteran, tough defense. But should they be ahead of that offense? That's my question. If they are, because of the fact of they're that good, I got no issue. But if we get into the season and this is a 15 ranked defense, 20th ranked defense, then I think we're going to have cause of concern, because Steve, when you look at the schedule, Steve, we don't have time to figure out our new offense. We don't have time for growing pains. We're at the Packers. Then we're versus the Bears, the Ravens, the Browns, which say what you want about the Browns. They always bring a tough defense. And then they're
one of the best defenses in the NFL year in, year out. Question mark with the Browns. question mark with the Browns has always been their quarterback. End of list.
You know what I'm saying? So then it's Joe Burrow, then it's Patrick Mahomes, then it's Baker Mayfield,
No days off.
then it's JJ McCarthy with the Minnesota Vikings, man. Then you're gonna go see Jaden Daniels, then you're gonna go see Jalen Hurts. So if this defense isn't really like that, and now our offense isn't the top 3 offense, we got cause for some concern. So if you're asking me my panic level, Steve, because I know that's probably something you're gonna toss at me, I'm gonna get ahead of it. From 1 to 10, my concern level is honestly probably a 4. Right? And I say a 4 because I'm not going to say 50-50. I'm going to say just below that. But I do think there's a little bit of cause for concern because Jared Goff is a seasoned veteran. He's not a rookie, man. He's not a young dude. He's not, and he has some relationship with Coach Morton. And when I look at some of the things that you mentioned, I've seen some of those things. I've seen him getting picked off during the I've seen observations about him getting picked off during team stuff. He's not going to have any fumbles because if you touch him, I'm sure Dan Campbell will probably kick you off the team if you're not a star. if you touch Jared Goff and you try even knocking around at that football, you hitting that man's golden arm, it's going to be problems if you're a reserve guy for sure. But on top of that, man, when I think about the fact that the bottom line is he's supposed to be taking this thing to another stratosphere right now. J-Mo's better. Saints better. Laporta's healthy. Right? Is he going to have the time that he had, though, in years past? So are you telling me we're going to march him out there with a new offense, new processing? It's going to take a little bit more time, potentially. Not saying it is, but potentially. And then he's got a little less time to make his decisions. We know that he's not going to be a guy that's going to be running around being an improvisational quarterback, man, just improvising and doing his thing back there. So those are the reasons why I have a little bit of concern. Do I think that we're going to be fine? Yes. Do I think that we should be paying attention to this? And look, because Stevie's probably not going to play in the preseason, right? He's going to be in a bubble.
Who's
so
that,
we got to
Jared
get this
Goff?
thing.
He shouldn't play in the preseason.
That's what I'm saying. So we got to get this thing right between now, joint practices, and then week 1. Be ready to go. So I want to see observations. And then when we get to go to practice, I want to see Jared Goff being dominant. I want to see the football out on time. I want to see the defense on their heels. Because if we're not, then we better be dealing with a top 5, top 10 defense. And that's the reason why. That's all I'm saying.
Will,
talk to me.
Get your popcorn ready for J-Mo, man. That's a direct quote from Brian Branch earlier today. Okay, so I really think I really think I'm standing on an island when I say that I think that this defense is going to be a top 5 defense. The personnel's there, the coaches are there. Heard nothing but good things about the coaches. Who's the linebacker coach we just talked about yesterday? They call him a genius. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Sean Hamilton.
Sean Hamilton. Called him a genius the other day, Will. Maybe it's just maybe AG was a good defensive coordinator. Maybe Shep is better. Maybe. Time will tell. Okay, because I think it's possible. I think Aaron Glenn was good. He was really good with what he had, a banged up defense. He did a phenomenal A+ job. Hats off to him. But maybe he wasn't doing the right things at the right time. Maybe Kelvin Shepard is. Maybe he's not blitzing as much. Now we have Hutch. We're getting home with 4. There's a lot of different variables to this equation, Will. I truly believe that this defense is going to be a top 5 defense. And what I don't want to do is question anyone's football aptitude from these reports we're seeing. All right. There's a lot of people out there that are reporting a lot of different things, but I need my eyes to see what's going on. Okay. I can only read so much and be like, okay, well, it's good to hear, but can't really get any clips. All right. I know you're not allowed to record a lot of things at practice stuff. So it's just people tweeting, and I get it. I take a lot of their word for it. They're usually very, very reliable, but I need to see it with my own 2 eyes, Will, because if I see it and I read it, then it's got to be true. So, Will, I'm going to get to the Hall of Fame game a little early for you. I'm going to do a little deep diving into this. I'm going to do a little behind the scenes as best as I can and see what's going on out there. So, yeah, I really just think that Aaron Glenn, I'm not trying to say that he was the fault for last year because we don't get to the playoffs without Aaron Glenn. He did a I can't even like comprehend how great of a job he did, but he wasn't playing with a full deck of cards. I think now everyone being healthy, maybe Calvin Shepard could just be a better defensive coordinator, and he's got a full deck to play with, and he's got healthy pieces, and he knows how to use them a little better. So we got to wait. But you're spot on about something. Well, my biggest concern is that schedule. There's no days off. There's no weeks off. All right. If you get off to a slow start, we're going to be chasing the 8 ball the whole year. And I definitely don't want to be in that boat, but it's going to be very hard to do what we did last season. So, yeah, we don't have time for our offense to try to figure it out. That's why I'm confident, because what are we really toting out there that's brand new? A rookie guard like Grant Glasgow's, he's played, and Dan Campbell's kind of hinted that, we're just shuffling some pieces around to see what fits best. We're going to see, is it? Oh, and Mahogany, kind of, yeah, he's technically a rookie too by amount of games played, but he played a little bit last year. So if those are the only 2 new pieces, I have nothing but confidence in the offense. Defensively, we're in the same boat. Like you said, everyone's been here for years other than DJ Reed, Tyleek Williams. Like, it's pretty much a veteran defense as well that knows their way around, and they've been with Coach Shep. So I think maybe this is just, it's all gelling together, Will.
Yeah. Steve, you hit the nail on the head, and just, I'm out here having a conversation. I am. And is there, like I said, is there a little inkling of concern about the offense? Yeah, but I think my concern is this, Steve. Are we going to be a top 10 offense, or are we going to be in the conversation of the top offense in the NFL? We're going to score points. That's the bottom line. We're going to score points. But I think this defense may be underrated. And that's where I'm going to end this thing. I don't see a weakness on this defense when I really think about it. And I like reserves, and something's going to happen. Matthew Judon or Za'Darius, or both, are going to be Detroit Lions, right? But one of them's probably going to be a Detroit Lion, and that's just going to add fuel to the fire, right? Because neither one of them have to be at camp. I don't think that they're guys that really need to be at camp, especially Za'Darius. He knows what the heck is going on already, so he ain't really got to be at camp. And I'm quite sure they've been in contact, right? If he is already got some type of deal in place tentatively. So, Steve, I really think that this defense can be special, long as the football gods lay things in our favor, and we don't have a replay of our last season. And I'm not even going to say the words, but people know what I'm talking about if you're a real football fan. So, I don't see a weakness. Best safeties in the league. Terry and Arnold, everybody who's seen him, played against him, is talking about the huge step that he's taken forward. We know what DJ Reed is. We know what Amik is, man. Then what are you talking about? You're talking about the Rock Yasins. You're talking about Ennis Rakestraw, man. It's very deep. It's very deep. I like our linebacking core. And then when you're talking about backup Sam linebackers, potentially Trevor Nowatzki could be a backup Sam linebacker to Derek Barnes. And I like Trevor Nowatzki. Well, I mean, hey, our will linebacker could be Grant Stewart, but our backup linebacker. I like him. So
Can I throw something at you that scares the shit out of me, Will?
Talk to me.
When you mentioned Penei Sewell struggling to block Aiden Hutchinson, would you agree that Penei Sewell is the best tackle in the league?
Without a doubt. Okay,
so if Aiden Hutchinson is dominating him, what's he going to do to another team's tackle? There's not another team that has another Penei Sewell. It's going to be a field day. I'm telling you right now, like Michael Strahan, your single season record for sacks is going to be broken this year, if that's the case. If Penei Sewell cannot block Aiden Hutchinson in camp, or if he's just blocking him 50% of the time, what's that mean? Hutch is winning 80% of his battles against another tackle. Thoughts and prayers. 30 sack season, Will. I know that's a high number, but if he stays healthy, and this is the case, Penei Sewell's struggling, there's not another team that even has anything close to Penei Sewell. So I think that could be a really, really good sign for the Detroit Lions, that maybe Hutch is maybe he's just that dude, Will. Maybe he's going out there, he's saying, hey, TJ Watt got $41 million. After I get 27 sacks this year, we could start the conversation at 50. We could start it there. And that's going to be a problem for the Detroit Lions going forward. But that's a boat I hope Brad Holmes has to find himself in, because Hutch just getting after quarterbacks all year. Thoughts and prayers, Will.
Steve, the podium. This is something I told you. I stand on it. Penei went to the podium. They asked him about Hutch. People go back and watch what he said about Hutch. He said, ooh, that man is the same or better.
Yeah.
That lets you know everything you need to know. When you're talking about a physical altercation with another man, and somebody asks you about that other man, and you go, ooh, that lets you know, hey,
he got me.
He a dog. He a dog. You know what I mean? And that's all you need to know. And if you watch, you can watch the highlights in the clips or whatever, but that told me everything that I needed to know. And again, that's no knock on Panay. I'm sure Panay is getting his wins or whatever. But the difference that I seen with Hutch this time, I've never seen Hutch just bull rush Panay. I've never seen it before. And that's not an easy thing to do. And it's not like he threw Panay around. That's not what happened. So let me not make it like it was that. But he drove him back quite a few steps. And to do that to Panay Sewell, meet him with aggression down the pipe, you gotta be a dude to be doing that. And like I said, to have him like, oh yeah, he's like that. He's back, if not better. So, Steve, I'm expecting big things out of this defense. I'm trying not to be quote unquote, as they call it sometimes, Michigan slappy, a Detroit slappy, but I feel like all of the breadcrumbs are there. I don't think that is necessarily the Detroit offense that's the problem. I think that our defense is causing problems, and I think we're going to cause problems for these teams in a league. We are finally in a situation where iron is sharpening iron. There's no easy days. Amon-Ra St. Brown is getting his lunch handed to him by TA one day, and then he's coming back and having a good day in the one-on-one drills like he did today. It's back and forth every day. Sam Laporta is getting into it with Brian Branch and shaking and juking Brian Branch. And then Brian Branch comes back the next day and he's making plays and he's getting after it. This D-line is going back and forth with the O-line. It is truly iron sharpens iron. And it's not just ones versus ones. It's the twos versus the twos, and the threes getting in with the twos, and then some of the twos getting in with the ones and giving those guys good looks. It's all over the place. Bloodbath. Brad called it. I love it.
William, you know what really sucks? My final thing is we're not going to get a real look at this defense until the season opener.
Facts.
We're not going to know. We've got to speculate for like 4 more weeks. It sucks. And the same thing with the offense. We got to speculate for 4 more weeks. We just got to go off what we hear, what we see. I know we got tickets to a couple practices, so we'll actually get to see for ourselves. I'm excited. I know we're not going to see much Thursday. I know we're not going to see much in the preseason games. It's going to be watered down vanilla offense. We're just watching guys trying to make the team, but it's at least some type of football, meaningful football in a way. But anything else for tonight?
Can't wait. Look out. We're going to be coming in talking about some of those guys that you're going to not want to miss when that preseason game hits on Thursday.
Stick around, hit that like button. We'll be back later with another show.
Peace.